Hello, my name is Brooke Knollman, and today I'll be talking to you about Post-Impressionism and how it came about. I'll be focusing mainly on two main artists, Vincent van Gogh and Paul Gauguin, and their major contributions to Post-Impressionism. But first I'm going to start by talking to you guys a little bit about Impressionism. So Impressionism is a style of painting associated mainly with French artists of the late 19th century and Impressionist paintings that seek to recreate the artist's or viewer's general impressions of a scene. And that's from dictionary.reference.com. Impressionism has 6 major features in each painting. These features are visible loose brushstrokes, open composition, light, ordinary day-to-day subject matter, inclusion of movement, and unusual visual angles. And as you can see, there are 3 starred features here, and later we will see how those relate to Post-Impressionism. So this here is a painting done by Claude Monet. It's an example of Impressionism. It's titled Impression Sunrise. This is actually how the movement got its name, and it actually started the movement towards Post-Impressionism. And as you can see, this captures a day-to-day scene, the visual brushwork, the open composition, the light from the sun, and movement from the water, and the unusual visual angles. And some of these ideas were then transferred into Post-Impressionism. So Post-Impressionism, when it came about, it introduced a new style with some of the same ideas as Impressionism. It has not actually been seen as a unified movement, but instead a group of movements that refer to Impressionism. The major features that are involved here are loose brushstrokes, open composition, unusual visual angles, and a new specific feature to Post-Impressionism is symbolism. That means it actually puts a deeper meaning into the painting. There's something hidden in the painting. And Impressionist painters wanted to have movement in their paintings, while Post-Impressionists wanted to capture a moment in time. So this is a Post-Impressionist painting. This is Starry Night by Vincent van Gogh. This has the loose visible brushstrokes, open composition, unusual visual angles, and this painting was created in 1889, and it's a major part of the Post-Impressionist era because there's actually symbolism involved, and you can tell by the use of the darker colors to get a darker mood and sadness in there. So Vincent van Gogh was probably one of the most famous Post-Impressionist artists. He was born March 30th in 1853 in Holland. He lived in Paris and became interested in all the art movements happening and started using them while he lived there. And then he moved to Arles, where he met up with Paul Gauguin, who was another very famous Post-Impressionist artist. And actually he wasn't famous really until after he died. So this is a painting done by Vincent van Gogh. It's titled Self-Portrait. It was created in 1889. And Van Gogh actually created a lot of self-portraits. This is actually one of his most famous ones. Post-Impressionist values are very present in this painting. You can see the loose brushstrokes here, how he captured a moment in time, the open composition, and you can see the usual visual angles from the brushstrokes like hitting in the background and on his clothing. So Paul Gauguin, who is also another very famous Post-Impressionist artist, he was actually a very good friend of Van Gogh. He included a lot of parts of the Post-Impressionism into his art, but one thing that really set him apart was that he used a lot more symbolism, and he liked to have a lot more spiritual meaning in his work. So here I have 2 portraits done. One is done by Vincent van Gogh and the other one's done by Paul Gauguin. And the one on the left was done by Vincent van Gogh. It's titled Self-Portrait with Bandaged Ear. And the other one on the right was done by Paul Gauguin, and it's titled Self-Portrait in a Hat. And you can see that's already very similar in the titles. Since those 2 artists worked so closely together, they had a lot of similarities, and they actually inspired each other. So some other similarities is they both have items in the background. You can see that Van Gogh has an easel and a painting while Gauguin has a vase and a painting also. This is actually like kind of where the symbolism comes in to play where in those paintings. Secondly, they're both facing the same way. Van Gogh's body is facing the same way, while Gauguin's head is in a different direction than his body, but both of their heads are facing the same direction. But they're both their heads are in the same angle in like a slight portrait pose. And then lastly, the paintings in the background are in the same location to the right of their heads in the top corner. So throughout time, Van Gogh and Gauguin didn't really get along. They were really good friends, but then they got into a lot of heated arguments and while they lived together in Arles. And they actually inspired each other a lot for their paintings, but one argument they got into between them actually got Van Gogh to cut off part of his ear. And then Van Gogh later placed himself in an asylum, and that's where he spent most of his last years and created some of his most famous pieces. And these are my references. Oh, there's a picture. That's it.